Hey, do you like writing? If you answered yes, then you're a liar, and I hate you. If you think writing is the worst because it's super hard and super lonely, then the Story Clock Workbook is for you. The Story Clock Workbook is built for getting your raw ideas out of your head and into a loose structure, so then you can spend less time feeling bad about yourself and more time doing the fun, practical parts of writing. You know, like winning awards and being famous. Things that definitely happen for everyone. Learn more about the Story Clock Workbook at plotdevices.co and get 20% off your first order with code GAMESHOW at checkout. And I love it if they all, they come into the cave and they're like, we found you. He hugs, the kids. He hugs the wife. Then he hugs the guy. And the guy, he's like, who are you? And then it's guy remembers suddenly, I don't actually know this person. Yes, it's while you were sleeping, but yes. Completely weird.
Yes, that's the cops to this movie.
Every Wes Anderson movie, and while you were sleeping.
So we have a little bit of Wild Wild West as well as while you were sleeping. Hey everyone, I'm Ryan.
And I have the script somewhere. Hold on.
Sorry, you gotta keep that tab open, bro.
I do. What is my problem? I don't know who I am. Oh my God, guess who I am? I'm Seth.
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan.
I just said I was Seth. Was that not good enough for you? I'm Seth.
And welcome to the Writer's Room Game Show. It's the podcast where every week we generate an original feature film idea from scratch in under 60 minutes, working from a set of random prompts given to us by a big Hollywood studio.
At the beginning of every episode, the studio, which is really just an iPhone shortcut we made, assigns us, the contestants, a new project consisting of 4 components: the genre, the tone, the demographic, which is the target audience, and a studio mandate, which is basically just a random thing the studio wants from us.
We then have 1 hour to develop a feature film idea that fits the assigned criteria, with surprise roadblocks along the way.
At the end of the episode, we'll focus group the idea with one of our talented filmmaker friends and ask them actual focus group questions. Did you know they really ask these in focus groups? They say, would you see this movie? And they say, would you recommend this movie to a friend? They don't just say it, they ask it. And they demand that the focus group answers and responds honestly.
And if you're like Courtney from last week, you'll say no. And we'll finally get a sigh of relief that we got to know.
We'll finally have honesty in our relationships.
If you're like everybody else, you'll say yes. Either way, we've developed an incredible or not so incredible feature film idea. And that's about it. That's the show. So Seth,
goodbye, everybody. Thanks for coming.
I would love to talk
format.
About last week, how fun it was having Academy Award-winning writer-director Josh Cooley.
The most Academy Award-winning guest we've ever had.
And we had him write with us Murder Most Foul, our murdered chickens.
What is absolutely, I'm gonna go on a limb and say it was our most well-received, famous episode. A little controversy. We are recording this immediately after recording that episode, so we really have no education to tell us.
Harrison Ford's agents really came after us this past week. It's been a grueling
They were so excited.
Process.
They want this made, and the amazing announcement this week is that it's been greenlit. We are making Murder Most Foul with Netflix, starring Harrison Ford and starring Margot Robbie. Harrison Ford gets the and Harrison Ford credit.
And Steven Spielberg, actually, with his new Netflix deal, actually came on as producer.
And director. Steven Spielberg is going to direct
It's an Amblin picture.
He's trying to basically, from what we gather, you heard it here first, he got it wrong with 1941, and he just feels that this is his chance to do what he never got to accomplish with 1941.
Yeah. 50 years later, he said, I'm going to redo.
He said, I found the new Bobs. I found the new replacement for the Bobs. Seth Worley and Ryan Pauly. Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale, if I've ever seen one. 2. I've ever seen 2, and I've seen 4 now because I saw the original Bob Gale and Bob Zemeckis and the Seth Worley and Ryan Pauly, making that 4. I'm Steven Spielberg, and I know math.
We're the new Bobs, and this is Writer's Room Game Show.
But we play the theme again.
Seriously though, Seth, it's been so fun doing this podcast. This is our eight episodes. I don't know if we've told people yet, but we will have 10 episodes of this first season before taking the shortest break of all time before coming back to
shortest break of all time. We have some very fun episodes in the works. We've had Ryan Connolly, we've had Josh Cooley, we have some very, very fun guests hopefully coming up.
Very excited.
We can't announce yet.
We have a few things we want to dive into before we get into our show. I would love to just mention we've got a Notes Hotline hotline now, guys, and it's for specifically notes on the movies that we have been developing. Not so much the format of the show, but if you have some ideas on, last week we made this incredible movie, Murder Most Foul. If you listen to that assignment and you're like, they did terrible, I would have done it like this. Give us a call. We
want to hear it.
Yeah, 1-800-HEY-WRGS, and that is
nope. That's not the number.
Oh.
1-866 HEY-WRGS. We don't know what 1-800-HEY-WRGS is.
Oh man. Okay, let's just pretend.
Call it, find out, and then call 1-866-HEY-WRGS and tell us what 1-800-HEY-WRGS was.
Be incredible if it's actually a thing. But yes, please use that hotline. We want to hear your ideas, and we're hoping to play some of those on the show and talk about them, just to involve our listeners a little bit in on the process. But with that,
and also if you're like calling with notes about our podcast format, just so you know, those actually belong on a different hotline for podcast notes, which we will set up once we start asking for them. We got a weird number of notes about the podcast format. Sorry you guys aren't loving this, but we are, so screw you. Thank you for listening.
One note that I would love to hear is, I haven't heard from Seth's mom, Worley, in a while.
Oh, the only notes that matter. Let's do a mom check-in. Mom check-in, Seth's mom, Worley. Seth's mom, Worley.
Seth's mom, Worley.
Her birth name. So, she said... This is about our episode, Dead Men Don't Wear Khaki. What was it? Blood-Soaked Khaki.
Blood-Soaked Khaki. Dead Men Don't Wear Khaki is a much more James Bond title, though.
Yeah, I believe that was the Steve Martin. It was Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, I think. This is after she listened to Blood-Soaked Khaki, our episode with Ryan Connolly, where we pitched to Cammie York. She said, just listen to this week's podcast with the Ryans. So cute. This is proof that you need to collaborate in writing, because if on my own, I would have given up after about 20 minutes as a hopeless assignment that can't be done. But you got it to a place that I cared about. Thanks, Mom. One of my favorite friendship shows, which I know about because of your daughters, is Just Add Magic. Those three girls work together to do magical things through a cookbook they inherit. But their real superpower is their friendship, the three of them working together. Often when cooking up a spell, it has an effect on them, but not the person they intended. And one of the best, here's the thing, she's not saying, but the real superpower is you and the Ryans' friendship, which I thought was where this text was going. Instead it goes somewhere else. That's a big theme for, one of the best episodes is when they cook up a spell that backfires on them, causing them to mistrust each other and turn on each other. None of them realize that what's happening at first, but they're just caught up in what's in their heads. So the truth is, what she was implying with this note is that our friendship is magic. All you have to do is just add it. Magic.
And I agree. So me and you, Seth, but you add Ryan Connolly in there, and that's just a friendship.
A cesspool of magic is what it is.
Oh, man. Oh, would you look at that?
They're back!
The studio always calling at the most convenient times.
That's what they're known for.
I'll take it. Hello? Hey, studio, how's it going, man? Oh, yes. I'm sorry, sir. I'll be more formal. Okay. All right, yeah. I'll have Seth read it to me. Just one question. Why don't you ever tell me over... Okay, never mind. All right, thanks, bye. That was a weird call. Anyways, Seth, I would love for you to read us the assignment, because they wouldn't tell me over the phone.
Today we are doing a road movie.
Okay.
The tone needs to be pensive.
Pensive.
So Google pensive.
Pensive road. I was going to go Dumb and Dumber with it, and then you said pensive.
God, you were literally going to go the opposite direction.
Wait, sorry. Pensive. Engaged in, involving, or reflecting deep or serious thought.
Well, the target audience is fans of Wes Anderson, so we can get there.
That's something I'm very familiar with.
It's Bottle Rocket is what we got.
Yeah, that's kind of pensive, but it's...
And it's a road movie, isn't it?
Not really. I mean, they go to a hotel and then they just go right back to Dallas.
Oh, you're right. They do. I think it's because it's at a hotel, I see it as a road movie, but they really don't. Okay.
What's our mandate?
Well, that's the fun part. They want it in half the time. So this might be a shorter episode than others. So I guess that means a 30-minute timer.
Okay, yeah, we can do 30. Typically we do 50, but I think 30 would... Let's do 30 so we can have that wild card right at the 15-minute mark.
The Writer's Room game show has begun.
This is awesome. I would love to start with Wes Anderson because he is one of my favorite directors. We've got here at Weekend Video. We used to have a Wes Anderson bathroom, but since we have moved it to one of our storage rooms. But it just
the whole bathroom.
It's just a wall. Yeah, just walls of Wes Anderson art.
Oh, I thought it was going to be just like pink tile with like a periwinkle toilet.
We don't have that kind of budget here, but we do have a selection of great art, and I would buy them at this gallery. Had this show every year called Bad Dads, and it's a Wes Anderson themed show.
I know of that. Yeah, of that show. go. Yeah.
But Wes Anderson, what I love about, I definitely think we need a bad dad in this, because that's one of the iconic Wes Anderson, it's Bill Murray and Rushmore. It's obviously Royal Tenenbaum and Royal Tenenbaums.
And Life Aquatic.
Fantastic Mr. Fox. You got Mr. Fox. There's
Moonrise Kingdom is not a bad dad story, but it's a new dad story.
Yeah. And it's he's a absent father who's trying to, So I definitely think playing up the sort of bad father, but also, Wes Anderson movies are also very comedic, but they also have a very serious tone, underneath, where it's sort of playing with that sort of depressing yet light tone.
Melancholy.
It's
exactly. This like melancholy tone. Bad Dads is a great place to start. And my brain immediately goes to what's the vocation that we're focusing in on? Because I feel like post Life Aquatic, starting with Life Aquatic and then on, it really became, each movie it feels like it's about a different person and a different, like the characters tend to focus around specific vocations or places of work. And so a road movie leads me to believe it could be and it can't just be like an IRS auditor. It needs to be and it can't just be like a salesman. It needs to be like a very highly specific kind of salesman or government person
and it has to be fantastical in some it doesn't need to be super fantastical, but I think it needs to be something that is very specific.
Well, if they're, his brother did all those drawings does he still do those for a long time that were like these maps essentially of the worlds of his?
I don't know. I know he used to. I know now he's just, Wes is obsessed with animatics. Like they just do, they literally shoot the animatic in it, the last, 2 films where it's just like exactly what he planned in pre-production.
God, that actually sounds like a dream at this point in my career right now, just to be able to comfortably make the movie in a comfortable setting.
Bob Yeoman was talking on the Deacons podcast about, he's like, it's actually kind of amazing because we watch these amazing animatics and we just stick to it exactly, and it helps us, we feel accomplished by sticking to the director vision that we get to see, and everybody sees it. He has an iPad and they're all passing it around, watching the scenes. But I don't know. I think I like your idea of, because for some reason I went to truck driver first, which that's fun. But I don't know if that's Wes Anderson.
I'm imagining a lone person in a suit in a car driving around, having to talk to people who don't want to talk to him, because then that allows us to meet a whole cast of characters that have bit parts in specific locations as well.
And I think something that is other than just only casting white people, which is okay, we need to change this a little bit, but his characters typically are a little bit more better off. There are exceptions, of course. We have Bottle Rocket, which is obviously people that are poor that are trying to get money, and then you have Fantastic Mr. Fox, which is these heist stories that they're trying to achieve more, but most of the time it's well-off people that are sort of learning a lesson on how to be a better person. So I think something like someone who works for the IRS or some sort of traveling salesman person that is wearing a nice suit, and for some reason I see that much more as a Wes Anderson kind of thing than immediately when I heard road movie, it's a Dumb and Dumber or a truck driver or something that's,
Yeah, no, you want it to be an up in the air kind of a story of someone who is on the road wearing a suit, doing a specific job. But again, I do feel like it needs to be someone who has a job to do that requires them to talk. And you tell me if this is a bad idea. I just, in my head, I have a character who has to drive around and talk to people who don't want to talk to them. Whether that be a Census Bureau agent or something, or I've always wanted to a movie about the census and call it Taking Names.
That's pretty great, man. That's pretty great.
That's not a Wes Anderson title, though. The Northwestern Census Bureau agent number 3.
Taker.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's it. The Northwestern name taker.
I do like that. And it's kind of fun. It could be someone who obviously their whole job is seeing a huge group of people and gathering this data from them or whatever.
Oh, what's the worst kind of data they could gather?
But I was going to say, there's also the person what's the kind of person who serves people? They
who serves people?
Yeah. I don't want to, I do like the census person for some reason. I think that could be a fun, I just don't know. I don't know a ton about that profession.
Process servers deliver or serve legal papers to people who are required to appear in civil court. Process servers. That's a fun idea.
Because that's sort of, it's Pensive. Pensive can just be them driving, it's a road movie. They're driving around the country or whatever, and they're alone with their thoughts. Maybe they meet someone and it becomes sort of a buddy, unlikely duo kind of thing. I'm trying to think of how to make this Wes Anderson-y. Obviously, he's got a family at home. Sorry. Continue.
Oh, no. And family at home. I like that. Let's come back to that. I was just going to say what if someone refuses to be served and so they're just following this person around? Like,
yes, like, they won't take that. They know what's happening. Like this person keeps on trying to dress up in disguises to give him paperwork or something of some sort.
That's a really good running gag.
Because that's very Wes Anderson too, like the fancy disguises. But isn't the thing like once you take it, like you've been served, but if you don't take it, like you don't have to, like you never received it. So, because I'm thinking of like Ocean's. No, it was I watched Iron Man 2 like an idiot the other day.
It is an Iron Man 2.
But Kate Mara like hands him, like is acting all like hidden on him and stuff. Then he takes the paper and she's like, "See you in DC."
He says he doesn't like being handed things. Yeah,
I don't know. I thought Oceans. I just watched all the Oceans movies again the other day, which is
I feel like it happened in an Ocean,
but it had to be. But anyways, so if he knows, but this person is like, I know what you're trying to do, and they never take it. So it's like this. I don't know how that's pensive, but I feel like we could fit it into the pensive kind of thing.
If that's even though that's not the driving story, the idea of a character who is consistently trying to like sneak the stuff back to the guy. Like there's also there's the argument of like, I was wearing gloves. Are you sure that this is like the most like Wes Anderson-y kind of joke of like, does it really still count if I was wearing gloves?
Cameras whip panning back and forth during the conversation.
The other idea was is you reverse it where they're trying to find someone specific. They've delivered all of the things they have to serve, but except one person. And so it's like a mystery almost of they're trying to chase down and find this person, right?
Yeah, totally. If there's like one left or whatever.
Yeah, there's one left. And so we're just trying to find that one. And he meets all these people in this one person's life and gets to know them really well. Like what if it's this guy, he meets the guy's like daughter or ex-wife or something, maybe falls in love, maybe like basically takes
totally.
This guy's life, waiting around for him to come home so we can serve him.
Dude, that's good. And meanwhile, he's got a family at home. And maybe he's bored with his current life or something and real just unlikable kind of dad who's like living this new life and really starting to enjoy it, not knowing that,
and enjoy his new kids. Like he's getting along with them great. And he's like, this is really dark, but it's very Wes Anderson-y, which is like, why can't I have this much fun with my own kids? Like, why aren't I this good of a dad at my own home?
And he's just having these pensive thoughts. We see him throughout the story. Constantly
pensing all over his thoughts with his thoughts.
No, I actually really like this, especially if we can kind of start in the first act. We see his normal life, which is serving people. We can have lots of fun sort of Wes Anderson-y interactions between him and these people he's serving. Of course, we're this is directing things, but we're like locked off on sticks and dolly and stuff the whole time. And then there's one serving that goes wrong. Suddenly we're in a handheld 16 millimeter as someone's like chasing him with their running out of their house with a sandal or something, chasing him. There's like that first act, we kind of see his life. Maybe we establish some of the family stuff. If we want to see that family, maybe that's something that we can kind of, as the story goes on, kind of establish that he has a family. I don't know. But then we, of course, our break into Act 2 can be him meeting, or he's down to that one. What do you even call these? Like the court summons or whatever. Like I don't know what you call these.
I was looking up just like if there's a federal service process.
Is it a subpoena or like a court summons or
any of those things? Criminal subpoena, criminal summons.
Yeah, isn't it? A summons is the notice of lawsuit. So if someone's suing you or like it's the notice
criminal
of
summons. Yeah,
he's down to the last one, and maybe I don't know if there's something interesting when he arrives and the guy's not there. If there's any like fun that we can have of him sort of like staking out outside the house and like obviously we're getting a lapse of time. I don't know if they like this sounds more like a detective now, but he's like spying on them with binoculars in a very Wes Anderson like fashion, seeing the family.
He's like watching. Oh my gosh, he's spying on them, and then a kid walks up and is like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Spying on your mother." And he's like, "Do you want something to drink? Do you want some tea?" And he's like,
It's
yes,
like,
please.
Can I join
takes
you?
It and
can I join you?
Can I join you? Yeah. What's she doing now? And he starts writing like he's like taking the notes for him,
like a little kid. Oh man, that's so Wes
and
Anderson.
then the kid becomes his like assistant essentially for like the rest of like the kid becomes like super into criminal process and is like boning up on it throughout the entire movie, and it ends up becoming like a very useful.
That's freaking funny. I love that. And that's, it's, of course, it's like, did you see Jojo Rabbit?
Oh, yeah.
It's like
finally a movie I've seen.
Alfie, the kid with the glasses.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that kind of kid. He's like sort of dressed in a quirky kind of, whatever, really smart.
And then I'm thinking basically it's like while you're waiting around for him to come back for, the guy basically they're all like, while you're waiting around for him to come back, you can stay here if you want.
But I feel like he would need to make up like a story of why he's like an old friend or something. Like he has to lie so that they don't know that he's summoning the dad and husband to court for being sued for this, whatever.
Yeah. And then I think they would just know, right? Or maybe they don't know and it's like the secret.
The mom specifically, unless she really doesn't like the husband and he left or something, I feel like they shouldn't know that either they know that he's waiting for him to come back and he poses as like an old friend or like like something like that who's in town.
I'm all for it.
Or the mom knows that he's being sued and she doesn't like him and she's like, she knows and she takes him in anyways because she wants to get back at him or something. But I feel like that kind of affects the family as well. Like I feel like the family should want the dad to come back.
Yeah, I think so too. So if they're like, you can stay here with us if you like, and since you're an old friend of his, and he's like, great, and the kid's like,
high school
so why were you spying on her? Because old friends spy on each other's wives. It's a thing we did in college. It's just we're just playing a guy I play car pranks with. This essentially is the joke.
Car pranks. Oh, it's so freaking funny.
That was one of my favorite jokes on the show. Just some guy I play car pranks with. These are our impressions of Danny McBride.
I'm so ready.
Welcome to the Danny McBride impression podcast.
I'm so ready for season 2 of that show, man. But yes, I think that should. Oh no.
Oh, I forgot. We're halftime, so...
Studio is faxing us a wild card already at 15 minutes. So we'll just wait for this to print. Okay, I can start to see it, Seth.
Oh, I think I know what it says.
Oh, there it is. Did you get it?
You see this?
Yeah.
Can you believe that they have told us this?
Oh, no.
I know you can see it.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now, and I'm just taking it in. Oh, man.
I can't believe that they want us to feature a fight with a giant spider in the third act.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, that's...
in our Wes Anderson Pensive movie. This is one of those classic Hollywood notes, huh? Those classic Kevin Smith studio notes.
We should give credit to the fact that this is stolen directly from Kevin Smith's amazing story of writing.
Was it Superman?
Superman Lives?
Yeah,
it was Superman Lives or Superman something.
Way back in the day, he was hired to write that, and apparently it was a great script.
This is back when Superman was alive, and Kevin Smith was writing the film.
And he lived.
And he lived. We know that he lived. It was a spoilery title. And the producer of the film was demanding that there be a giant spider in the third act. And sure enough, later, that same producer finally got his wish with Wild Wild West.
Yep. And we saw that. That is so funny. Yeah, you're so right. But okay, let's table that for a second as we just sort of develop our story now that we have 14 minutes to finish out this
I have an idea on how to do it, though.
Okay. Do you want to talk about it right now?
It's up to you. I didn't know if you had other stuff you wanted to talk about first.
No. I like where we're going with this. So just let's talk about the spider.
Okay. The kid or either the dad. I was imagining the dad, like the dad that he's waiting around for, the guy he's waiting around for, works in a mine or something. And like they're...
When does this take place?
Now. But he's still, I don't know. And
I'm imagining this suburban neighborhood and like this classic American family. Classic American family, and they're like, dad's off at the mine working.
At the mine? Well, so it's Wes Anderson, so it's like time agnostic. It doesn't know when it takes place.
I think you're right. I think it's freaking funny to me too. So it's really funny. Suburban mine worker. And it's funny that this mine worker and our protagonist guy were college friends, and one went off to serve summons, and the other one went off to work in a mine.
Well, we don't know that's what he does. We don't know that's what he does, but they both went to. That's actually funny. It was like we went to college together. It was like the mine, the school of mine college, mine university. They had no idea that their dad went to college. No, he doesn't like to tell.
He says he went to my collage. Wait, do you mean mine college or my college?
So stupid. This is one I feel like we're going to go make now. What I was going to get with the spider is that you just have the kid be really into insects, or one of the kids be really into insects. There's a couple ways you go about it. One, you cheat and you have like they have a tarantula and it gets out. right? And that's like part of this whole like third act thing that bonds them together, causes the truth to come out somehow, the search for the spider.
Yeah.
Or that one of the kids believes in this myth of this giant spider that lives in the mines, and they believe that that's what got their dad. We know dad is on the run because dad is actually in trouble with the law.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why he's on the run, of course, because he knows that this is coming.
But the family believes either because he does work in a mine or because this guy does a terrible job lying to the family. They believe that the dad is trapped in a mine, and in a mine that the kid believes a giant spider lives in.
Yeah.
Because that's like the mythology of this town or of this like cave or this mine. Then we actually reveal the spider, right? At the end, like
I think we have to. And I think I feel like this could be a period piece in like the 70s or 80s, because this is something I feel like it makes more sense in that for some reason to me, because we could set the look of the, costume
and the G-Man, the whole G-Man look from like the 60s or 50s.
Even maybe 60s or something.
So driving around in a Buick or whatever the Men in Black car would be.
Him being in a mine, I think that makes sense. And a spider actually being in the mine, him actually being trapped in this mine at the end.
Oh yeah, he's not on the run from the law. He doesn't know that he's being served.
He's literally but we make the audience think as if he's on the run. That's why he's not there. But he's literally in there, and it's dude. And what's the adjective that starts with an S? Super. You're googling, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Starts with S. We need like a positive. The sensational spider summons. Something like that for our Wes Anderson title.
Oh, okay. I was going to pitch like the 24th Circuit process server, like something with a number and like a government, I guess title.
That's good. I'm like thinking like summons or subpoena, spider. They have the same alliteration.
Summons is a good word. Summons is a Wes Anderson-y word.
Yeah, we can come back to that. Spider.
Okay.
Sorry, we have 9 minutes. That's why I'm like, we should focus on the story.
Oh God,
it's going so fast.
I don't think the spider should be in the title name. I think it's funnier if it's a plot element that people hear about and are like, what?
And I think if it's established, like sort of once he's with the family or something, maybe there's stories or something like the town that's like there's the kid they're out, like he's hanging out with the kid one day like at the park or something. He's like, you don't want to go down there. That's where the spider cave is or whatever. He's like, that's weird.
That's what got my dad.
He's like, okay, kid. And then, you play it off the whole time. And then when the spider, however, the third act, we want to introduce that, they actually go down there.
Or, I mean, it's in the mine though, right? It's not in a cave. Like, it's like
you're right. I forgot he was a miner for a second.
Yeah, I know. So, but it'd be like... he hasn't come back. Like basically, you can wait here till he gets back, and then the family's like, the mom's like, do you want to eat dinner? Like, join us at dinner. He'll be home soon. And then as it gets later, I don't know where he is. You're welcome to spend the night on the couch or whatever. He wakes up the next morning, and the woman's freaking out because that guy never came home, and we think he's on the run from the law. He doesn't want to break it to this sweet family, so he's like, why don't I go to work and we'll see if we can find him. And he gets there to the mine, and like the kid is like, the so-and-so got him. Like, the what? And the mom is like, don't throw that nonsense around here, yada, yada. And the kid is like, no, like, we need, like, it needs, God, it's like, I want to give it, like, a Spanish name or something. Like, it needs, like, a name. This, like,
what's
this
like,
arachnid.
let me look up, like, a spider cryptozoologist. Yeah, it's spider cryptid. There's a Jabba Fofi, is a Congolese giant spider. I don't like the name of that.
I don't know.
The Jabba Fofi.
I kind of like it. I think we have to be mispronouncing.
There's also apparently a velociraptor spider that was discovered in an Oregon cave. Velocispider. But that just sounds like a parody.
It does.
Let's just go with Jabba Fofi, which I will copy and paste into
Please forgive us if we have just appropriated a spider or something. We feel like Wes Anderson could get away with it
somehow
while casting all of his...
Are you in our episode 9 notes right now?
No, I'm not. Okay. But God, this is probably the best notes we've done so far. How much time we got?
Currently have 7 minutes left.
So what happened? So we play it off like it's a thing the kid is like, he got taken. But the real fear is like, we think the real fear is like, how do we break it to this family that this guy probably isn't coming back, that he's on the run from the law? And how do I secretly try and find out where he is? Like...
And we, at the same time, we can't forget sort of our theme of, our protagonist and the pensive nature of the story, that he has a family that is also, he's leaving, where it's like, maybe we play up the mirroring of, there's a good father that is unable to get back to his family, and then a bad
Who's a
father
criminal.
that I guess he's a criminal, but he loves his family.
That
maybe.
is an exchange, by the way. Like it'd be real funny if
No, it's a criminal that loves his family, and then a guy who's serving the criminals that doesn't love his family. That is a crappy.
Yeah.
So
And-
it's like the mirroring of that.
And like we paint this guy that's actually trapped in a cave. He's actually a great guy, and then he has to serve him, and it turns out he murdered someone, or like it turns out
The whole time.
he's actually, or he embezzled millions from his mine company.
I feel like it should be something like that. That doesn't make him that makes him a bad person, but it's not like a story breaking, like, oh, you're actually a murderer, like your family's in danger. It was more like,
No, it's played as a joke, like a button on a scene, pretty much.
Yeah. I think it should be, he's embezzling millions from the mine company, from the town's mine company. But yeah, I like that. I think we can get there with I'm thinking of the Darjeeling Limited, how it's like a fun story, but that's probably one of his most serious sort of films.
Yeah.
That can get away with sort of this fun, quirky story, but we have these moments of realness where you would think of like the boys like talking to each other like around the fire, or like going to the camp with their mom and having these tough discussions about family and stuff. And we can sort of sprinkle that in throughout our sort of fun, quirky story about this.
Yeah.
What is the job of, like, what do you call them? The people that serve?
Process server, I think is, or
okay.
service processor.
Yeah. So
processor, a federal process server.
So you have this federal process server, the FPS, that is, he gets in with this family. Maybe the second act is sort of, we're seeing what we think is him having, sort of discovering what it's like to have this great family, this alternate family. Do we find out maybe at the midpoint someone finds out about his other family, or what's our like big midpoint twist that we want to, now that we have 3 minutes left to develop our story? Because I feel like we need something about either this new wife of the person who's being served finding out about him, or
a lot of time has to pass, I think. And he actually just
he falls in with the family over a few months.
Falls like a long enough time that this guy is living in this cave, like the dad is actually not thriving. Is that what you said?
I think it would be hilarious. Well, he can't get out, so he's like, I might as well make the most of this. So he like somehow,
I don't know what he eats
or
feeds off of.
Wes Anderson, I don't know, rats or something. He has but in a Wes Anderson way, we kind of like, when we discover him, it's like he has this like Grand Budapest Hotel-esque like crappy cave. He's made a table and he has a bed and all this stuff, and it's like this very stylized like.
And he drew pictures of a picture of his family like on the wall, and it's really good. He's like, what did you use to draw? And he's like, rat's blood. Like everything is made with rat's blood.
And it's like, they're just like, it's like, oh, his bed, it's like rat fur.
Oh, everything is rat. Absolutely everything is
and
rat.
There's just like, it pans over and there's just like a spit with tons of rats on it, like over the fire, like rotating.
And just rat skeletons everywhere, like comical rat skeletons.
There's forks and knives made out of rats' bones.
Oh my God. And we just glaze over, like we graze over it, just like
he's like
glaze over it, graze over it. Front to start. I don't know which one of the term is.
But yeah, and then he makes it out. He's like, oh, it's nice to be out. And he's like, better take a few of these for the road. He grabs a few rats.
That's great. Oh, I love it. Picture this. You're a director. You've got a shoot coming up, and one night you're rereading the script and suddenly they hit you. Shot ideas. Close-ups, medium close-ups, dare I say extreme close-ups. But what are you going to do? The shoot isn't for several days. How will you remember them for that long? Then, you remember something you bought after hearing an ad for it on a podcast that you absolutely love and share with every one of your friends. And you think, that thing that I bought from listening to that podcast just might be what I need. So you throw open a drawer and there it is, the storyboard workbook from Plot Devices. You turn to the first blank board in the board section and you sketch those shot ideas real fast so you remember them. And you're terrible at drawing, but you know that doesn't matter because you're not Ridley Scott, and everyone in your life knows it. But one thing you are good at is being practical. That's why you flip to the setups section and start sketching a possible lighting floor plan for the day of the shoot. Using the provided gear list section, you jot down a list of lights you know you'll want to request to be put on the truck. And now, not only are you ready to communicate your vision, you're also ready to execute it. So when the day of the shoot finally arrives, you can arrive to find the location is on fire, but you have to shoot anyway, so you just wing it with the confidence of knowing you did the best you could. And if it sucks, it definitely won't be for lack of trying. Learn more about the storyboard workbook at plotdevices.co and get 20% off your first order with code GAMESHOW at checkout.
But yes, I feel like we have a general idea. I have no idea how we get to the actual, with a minute and a half left now, to the cave. I feel like maybe they have to find out something like, oh, he's still alive. Or maybe...
Yeah, they get word. They find something in the cave, some clue. Somebody, one of the miners.
Guy convinces the family that... we're just going with Guy, of course. He convinces the family that he ran out on them. He's a bad dad.
Oh, they have to find that he's in the cave when he actually tells the truth. He finally tells the family the truth.
I came to serve him. He went on the run because he's a criminal. He's a bad guy, but I'm a good guy.
And that's when the phone rings. The kid picks it up and goes, "They found him!" And cut to the cave, like the mines, and oh my gosh, that would be so good. I love
this, dude. This movie is so dumb, and I love it.
And I love it if they all they come into the cave and they're like, "We found you." He hugs the kids, he hugs the wife, then he hugs the guy, and the guy he's like, "Who are you?" And then it's guy remembers suddenly, I don't actually know this person, Yes, it's while you were sleeping, but completely weird.
Yes, that's the cops to this movie.
Every Wes Anderson movie, and while you were sleeping.
So we have a little bit of Wild Wild West as well as while you were sleeping. In addition to the Wes Anderson filmography. But yeah, he's hugged him. He's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "Oh, I wrote you this letter." Gotcha. Just kidding.
Actually, that's it.
He has to serve them. Oh, that's it.
I think the Wes Anderson delivery is more of
he serves.
I really hate to tell you this, but you've been served. It's got to be a very understated.
Yeah. You suckers just got served, as they would say, and you've got served at 2000 dance.
And the
comedy.
kid's well, what if he had been practicing with the kid? The kid's like, "How are you going to say it when you give it to him? How are you going?" And so then he tries it.
This kid has no.
The guy's like, "What?" And he's like, "Sorry, I told you I should have gone with the different." This just.
And then he has to, the ending is they're a happy family now, and he has to go back to his old family. It's this kind of depressing.
We don't ever meet him. He just goes back on the road and goes home. We don't know what he plans.
That's true.
But he'll have had discussions with the wife about I don't know why it's so easy to be a father to you guys and not to my own family. Yada yada. Well, what does that mean? If you're staying around, is that good for the family or not? We don't know what he does. And he drives
How
off.
sad is it? They're like, "We've got our dad back," and they're like, "I mean, I guess you could stay with us if you want." It's the dad's like, "No, absolutely not." The kid's like, "You want to sit?" He's like, "No, get the out of my house."
That's it.
The kid's like, "Can he stay?" He's like, "Absolutely not."
No, can he stay? And the mom's and it feels like they're all going to nod, and the dad's like, "Get the hell out of my house."
It's the same as the Zack Snyder ending. "Get the hell out of my house."
That's our favorite thing is "Get out of my house." It's my favorite line.
Time to pitch your movie.
We went 2 minutes over, but I think it was worth it.
Man.
It was worth it.
That was fun. I like how this is a personal exercise for the two of us, for our own well-being.
We did it 25 minutes less than normal, and I feel like this is just as good as some of our other ones.
Me too.
Let's pitch it, man. I'm excited.
He is a veteran After Effects artist from DreamWorks Animation and creator of the viral YouTube series Action Movie Kid, partnering with Toys R Us, Disney, and Lucasfilm. He is now a senior content creator at Maxon, and he is the co-host of the massively popular hit show VFX and Chill, which he co-hosts with a very handsome younger gentleman. Please welcome our good friend, Daniel Hashimoto.
Yay! Hey, how are you all doing?
Great. How are you, Hashi?
Doing very well. I imagine you're all stressed from the writer's room.
Yeah, we had an interesting episode this time. We actually already informed you we had half the time than we usually did on our other episodes. But I think we came up with something that we're actually pretty excited about, that we really like.
That's a lovely mandate. I like that.
I'm worried that our audience is going to like that mandate a lot, too. I'm worried they're all going to request that mandate weekly.
They're like 60 minutes or less. How about 30 minutes or less?
I like it because, having listened to the show before, I'm aware that the 30-minute mark is usually when one or the other of you decides that you should start getting serious about what you're about to do, and you've dumped the box of crayons out on the table. So
yeah, it's a pretty grim it can be a grim first 30 minutes.
It's usually when we're waiting around for the wild card mandate to come in to actually give us some story.
Yeah.
No, this one is exciting. I'm just going to jump into it, Hashi. And as usual, feel free to chime in whenever you want. give comments, concerns, questions, etc. But the movie that we want to pitch you today...
I'm going to stop you there, Ryan. I'm sorry. No, I'm not.
Well, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever seen the movie U.S. Marshals?
That's a soft sequel to The Fugitive, right?
Yes.
Very soft, yes.
Sorry.
No, nothing soft about U.S. Marshals, actually, but continue.
Does Harrison Ford jump off of a train crash?
That's in the first one.
So
I wish they did that again in the second. But
I'm aware.
Great. Well, we have Tommy Lee Jones as U.S. Marshal. Of course, they're big action beats. They're solving crimes. They're trying to find these fugitive drilling.
To clarify, we don't have those things. U.S. Marshals had those things.
Hey, I'm pitching here.
I was getting excited.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
The world of U.S. Marshals is more than just Tommy Lee Jones solving these crimes, finding these detectives. There's also the world of federal process servers. And that's the world that we're going to be living in our movie, which we're going to be calling the Pine Bluff Summons. I think that's what we called it, right, Seth?
It is now, and I like it a lot.
The Pine Bluff Summons. And in our movie, we have a character named Guy, who is a federal process server. And our setting is, I think, 50s, 60s. He's driving around this Oldsmobile, driving cross country, going person to person, serving them a summons for, their criminals, whether they've evaded their taxes or what have you. He's serving them left and right, giving them their papers. And of course, as you know, I'm sure you've seen in movies, hopefully you haven't been served yourself. These people are typically unaware of what's happening. They take a form or they sign a paper and suddenly you've been served. We'll see you in court. And so these people that he's meeting throughout this film are not super happy to see him. And this guy also has a family at home. Not a great relationship with this family. He's sort of one of those guys who he likes being on the road because he can be away from his wife and kids. He's sort of bored of his life. He's not a super
always serving other people is what it sounds like to me.
Exactly. Yes, serving other people. And he's not a super likable character. And what we see throughout our film is he's always on the road, sort of living with his thoughts. He's always very pensive. But we're getting a lot of fun.
Okay.
We're seeing a lot of fun, unique characters on his journeys. But I'm going to pass it off to Seth to actually get into the plot of our film.
It's not just a montage of.
Well, so as Ryan said, it opens with this really, really funny montage that is essentially an extremely boring event of just a man serving process papers to people in their generic lives on the road to either a very pensive Belle and Sebastian song or something along those lines, or it's completely the opposite and it's just some Stone song that is moving and is jiving, is rocking, as the kids say, all these verbs in terms of music. So
tonally I'm detecting a lot of weight behind this as opposed to playing some Smash Mouth and him dressing up as a mailbox to fool people springing out from behind a cactus.
We do have some dress up scenes. There's one person.
There are some disguises for sure.
Okay. I needed to know if there were disguises now or not because
so you're right. I'm sorry. We forgot to tell you up front how many disguises are in this story.
Oh, lead with that.
From what I understand, there are at least one, possibly two disguises in the film. So Guy, our main character, protagonist, he has one last summons he has to serve, and he arrives at this suburban home. Before he knocks on the door, he likes to get a good picture of where these people are in their lives, when a good point would be to convene. And he's watching with binoculars, spying on the man's wife, who's hanging laundry or something in the backyard, and suddenly a child is right next to him, and the child is the young son of the person who he's come to serve the summons to. And the kid is what are you doing? And he's are you spying on my mom? And he's like, can I join you? And so then the kid just hangs out, oh, you want some tea? And the kid gets him some lemonade or some tea, takes it by but we cut to he's the kid's taking notes, helping him the notebook, etc. The dad never comes home that night. So eventually the kid's do you want to come in for dinner? And he's all right. So comes in, has dinner at the house, and he says that he's how do you know my husband? Well, we went to college together. Oh, you went to Polly. What was the joke? It was you went to my university.
Yeah. He's we went to my university together. They're like, my university or mine university? They're like, oh yeah, I guess I forgot to mention Dad works down in the mine.
It's like, oh yes, we went to college together. Yes, we into the mine. So I'm not getting the point. The point is that this guy shows up to serve this summons to this man, and in waiting for this man to come home, ends up getting to know, has dinner at the house at this man's house with his family. He's delightful, his wife and son, and he doesn't come home that night. And this stretches out for about 6 to 7 months. And in this time, this process server becomes ingrained in this man's family and essentially becomes like a surrogate father to the young boy. And they all don't know that he is a process server. They believe he's just an old friend from
Mine University.
From Mine University. And they believe that he's trapped in the mine. The young boy believes he's trapped in a mine with a mythical spider known as a Jabal Fofi. What was that? What it was? I don't remember how to pronounce it. Which is an actual like cryptozoological like creature from I'm forgetting its origins.
I forget its origins too. It's appropriate.
Congolese, known as the Congolese giant spiders, but these are supposedly like massive spider that lives in deep within the local town mine. And he knows this
perfect.
is BS.
So it's like town lore is that they might exist.
Totally. Town lore. Okay. And so
this is placed sort of 50s, 60s too. So it's sort of that, there's a lot more of that lore and interesting things because the internet doesn't exist.
Yes.
Well, and I should point out, it seems like it's 50s, 60s, but there are elements of like modern day. Like it's one of those where it's very hyper stylized. The production design is very
Lady in the Water universe.
not
Lady in the Water. Dang, what the hell is it called? Shape of Water is where I was going with that.
Oh, yeah, we could go a little bit like that. Lady in the Water and Shape of Water. I love...
They're slightly different movies. I love them equally.
But keep in mind, in this sort of 6 month, over these 6 months, there's lots of fun comedic moments, but there's also lots of sort of more serious moments, keeping in mind that not only is this process server falling into this family that he really loves, and he's starting to really enjoy his life
neglecting his family.
He's neglecting his family, and it's sort of mirroring, him leaving his family to come serve this criminal and falling in love with this family. And then the criminal is now gone, and he's possibly a good father and not able to be with his family. So
except that the thing is that he knows, the process server knows that he's on the run from the law. His family thinks he's, in the mine.
Yeah, he can't break this kid's heart and is now...
Exactly. So then one day, so as he's, he has these conversations with the wife where he admits, he's like, I do have I have a family at home. He admits, like, why is it so easy for me to be a father, to be a family man with your family than it is to be one with my own family? Like, which is rather sad and also rather like poignant. And then one day he's like, I can't keep lying to these people. He's just been done because he can't lie to these people. And mainly because the son starts to figure things out because he's smart. And by now the son is helping him in his criminal work and paperwork primarily. That's all he has. The kid's filling out the paperwork for him.
Now his job, to be clear, is effectively to physically hand over a package to this man should he show up.
Yes. We should mention that in our movie universe, him staying with his family for 6 months and not serving other people doesn't matter.
Okay. I didn't want to pull the suspension of...
We should say anything you're thinking about doesn't matter, and only what works matters. So he finally decides he finally decides he has to tell him.
So he finally decides he has to tell him, and so it's this big moment where we're rising to this moment where he sits the family down and he tells them the whole truth. I'm a process server. Your husband is a bad guy. He's been funneling money from the town mine company for years, and he's like a terrible
into the
guy.
Town mafia, from the town mine company straight into the mafia.
We're doing mafia now. Okay.
These are not minor crimes. They're minor crimes.
Minor crimes,
but they're not
100%. That is the best. Yes.
You got the job, Hashi. You're writing it with us.
New title, yeah.
Anyway, so he's like, your dad, he's a bad guy. Your husband, he's a bad guy. But like, I'm here for you. Like, I want to be with you guys. At which point the phone goes off. The son picks it up and he says, they found him. He's in the mine. We are now at the mine. There's, ambulances there. There's people sort of digging up the mine. They find the dad and he is in the mine. And we expect to see him sort of emaciated. He's been in this cave for 6 months. But when they arrive, he's eating a rat in there.
He's thriving.
Yeah. He's like, oh, disgusting. What have you been surviving on? He's like, oh, we've got rats down here. And they're like, oh, that's a beautiful painting on the wall. Is that a portrait of your family? He's like, yeah.
That's a beautiful portrait portrait, beautiful like portrait he's painted of his family.
Yeah, it's rat blood. Like, oh, okay. Then they start to look around and they see this table.
This is a great table.
Rat bones.
Oh wow! So what's this bed made of? This is really fine bedspread.
Yeah, it's the rat fur. So
we look at all this flatware you've built and server and silverware.
That's rat bones as well. So he's been thriving on these rats in this cave.
So he would get along well with Demolition Man's Dennis Leary, is what you're.
He's actually played
all
by
the right comps, all the same comps we've said, 100%.
The comps were actually Wild Wild West, While You Were Sleeping. No, but anyways, their family are reunited with the dad. Guy, meanwhile, is just sort of taken back. He's like, what is happening right now? And he just has taken from this greatest moment where he's confessed this thing to now discovering that he's here, and he sort of remembers, oh, like, I actually have to serve this guy. Like, that's why.
Can I interject? Because
of course.
There's something that happens that I think we've both forgotten about because I'm making it up right now, which is that
the giant spider.
The giant spider suddenly shows up right when he's about to serve him the process papers. And so together, they all fight off the spider. But of course, our guy tries to sacrifice himself, doesn't have to. They fight off this giant spider, turns to the dad and says, "You've been served," and hands him the papers. And then, Polly, what happens next?
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah. At which point, he accepts it. He's like, "You're right. I have been funneling millions of dollars into
from the mine to the mafia."
But at which point, the family's all there. The mom and son forgive the process server. Like, you've been good to us, filling in the void where the dad was gone. And at which point the son says, "Hey, but if you want, you can stay with us." And it feels like this moment where it's about to be like this nice, like the family.
She looks to the mom,
him.
and the mom is like, "Mom, thanks," and starts to nod and turns to the dad, and you feel like they're all going to let him stay, right?
At which point the dad says, "Absolutely not. Get the hell out of my house."
So he gets on the road and drives off to home, to where we don't know. But that was the story of the Pine Bluff Summons, with many things omitted that we forgot.
Pine Bluff Summons.
Yes. Minor crimes. That's the tagline. Minor crimes. So I guess overall, before we ask you these questions that we ask everyone, do you have any thoughts or feelings, or maybe even any guesses as to which our assignment was?
As to what the hell this was supposed to be.
All right. So, wow, I'm still just taking it all in. There was a lot here. I feel a lot like an obscure, tall tale, whatever, cryptozoological creature needed to appear in this, because that is surprising.
Attaboy.
Featuring the FPS so heavily, and not frames per second or first person shooter. The third search result is the
federal process server.
I actually said that, I think, in the episode.
Oh, really? I totally forgot.
It feels mandated. It feels like there's I think that there's some show about postal workers that need to preserve chain of evidence or something like that. And I think there's like a literal show about this. So it's like a less glamorous thing to focus in on as movie content.
Oh, I thought you were talking about The Carrier. I thought you were like slyly working in my other project.
I was starting to. No, there is literally a show that is, I think, it's somehow male people, but it's
preserving evidence.
But it might be like a chain of custody, like or something like that. Anyway, that was unuseful toward this.
Is it called murder by proxy?
I don't even know, but I don't know if there's anything I need clarified, to be honest.
Do you have any idea who our target audience might have been?
Gosh, federal process servers.
Sir.
I'll give you a hint. It was fans of a specific director.
Oh, boy.
Writer-director.
And it's not your fault if you can't guess.
Not like there were parts that felt like it felt less funny than I was expecting for some of the content. So like I don't know, a Paul Thomas Anderson character, or like Box or something. Since
close in the alphabet. Very close in the alphabet.
It's close. It was Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson.
Fans of Wes Anderson.
We wanted a bad dad in there. We wanted it to be quirky, yet, still have a melancholy undertone.
Traditionally based around like a very, very specific vocation in like a very specific location. It's something else that rhymes with vocation, involving echolocation.
And then our genre, which I'm positive that you're not going to get.
All right, what was your genre?
Road movie, because we were on the road the whole time, weren't we?
Road movie.
We kind of forgot. We started as a road movie and then planted down or at the mine town pretty quickly.
Excellent. All right. So
more importantly is, would you see this movie and would you recommend it to a friend?
Absolutely not.
Oh boy.
Oh man, love it.
I will say, if the pitch was led by Wes Anderson wants to make a new movie, seeing the pitch through those eyes gives me a very different feel than hearing the pitch in the room. If this was a project I think that's elemental to it. If it were Wes Anderson, a lot of this content, I've reformatted it all in my brain.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it sounds like without that context.
Without that context, it sounds like crazy people.
I wonder if we should change our rules. Talk about those things in the pitch if it's elemental to the. To how
I did. Yeah. Toward the end of the pitch, I did start thinking, like, does it star anyone cool? Like what? What?
You are the studio. You literally are.
Okay.
Would you recommend it to a friend?
No. While it's such an interesting thing, it's surprising. I'd never thought about how much a story directed by Wes Anderson or not
needs Wes Anderson.
It could make. Yeah, it's going to really feel that, Wes Anderson shaped hole if, which is straight on, actually. But I think that the problem is, like, there's nothing that would otherwise grab me about it in this description, which makes me think to some of his movies, if I didn't know you were describing them, how entertaining or not they would seem.
What's funny is that was kind of our target. I feel like what we were circling around is what you just so brilliantly said, which is that, like, if you described a Wes Anderson movie and left out the context that it was a Wes Anderson movie, it would probably sound boring, uneventful, or like, why would you tell a story about that, with a few notable exceptions.
Especially like the first half of his work, especially, I think. Yeah.
Even like the French Dispatch, like, I'm not sure that sounds like.
You see, I should have gotten it from that title, though. Like, once I realized, like, you skipped over like minor crimes or you've been served, but not kind of titles. Pine and Bluff Summons should have been my giveaway.
Yeah, come on, that's really should have picked up on it, Hashi.
Oh man, well, I'm very happy that you were straight up with us. It's very refreshing for this podcast for someone to not skirt around the answer.
You have some wonderful concepts that the concept I could see.
And we've learned a good lesson to always lead with Wes Anderson if he's part of the assignment.
Always lead with Wes Anderson.
Oh, wow. I did love lots of bits of it. I love the idea of, I mean, it, like, there's that formula of, like, accidentally, like, meeting the wife of the bad guy and, falling in with her a little bit, and then, but your objective is counter that. But usually that leads to, instead of that, right when they would fess up is when they get caught. So there can be the falling out and then rebuilding a bit. And so I was surprised when he fessed up. I was like, wow, that's different than that formula.
Probably better if the kid catches him and then the mom does, and then probably get a whole sequence with the kid knowing. Like,
you have a wonderful dance party in the living room, and then when the wife goes to, I hate to use a second laundry reference, is like hanging up his jacket and notices, what's this envelope with my husband's name on it in this pocket?
Oh yeah,
it's like that. I mean, that's the cliche way to do that.
We left out some. I'm realizing we left out some very Wes Anderson jokes too. Not that they would have changed your mind at all, but like that night when he tells the wife that he's like, I went to college with so and so, like we're old friends, and she leaves the room and the son's like, then why were you spying on her? He's like, that's what old friends do. They spy on each other's wives. It's a classic college, like dumb stuff like that. We left out a lot of those little.
Oh wow!
We would have had you obviously, and we
honestly
that would have changed the game.
Knowing who directed this, I can imagine getting there. This would be a fantastic Wes Anderson trailer.
I'm gonna start pitching all my movies with, just so everyone knows right up front, Wes Anderson is going to direct this. See how many more things I can sell.
Oh man! Well,
anyway, but it was a fun experience. I had fun on the journey.
Well, I think it's safe to say we've had another successful, unsuccessful episode of the Writers' Room Game Show.
No one died, and that's the goal every week.
It's
more about the friends we made along the way, isn't it, boys?
Yes. Yeah.
Speaking of friends,
as you learn on a road movie that takes place in one location.
The Writers' Room Game Show with me, Ryan Pauly. and Seth Worley. Executive produced by Grant Wakefield at Weekend Video and Ann Fogerty at Plot Devices. Edited to perfection by Rene Gomez. Our art is by your buddy, Meg Lewis, and our face-melting music is by Ben Worley. The Writers Room Game Show is a Weekend Video production in association with Plot Devices. Learn more about Weekend Video at weekend.video and check out writersroomgame.show to listen to all of our episodes and suggest your own prompts for future shows. And don't forget to rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts. It really helps our show out a lot. See you in the next one. Whoa, this song is cool, said everyone. Well, that's because this music and all the other music under ads in this episode was provided by MusicBed. They've got an insane selection of music that filmmakers and creators can license, and Seth and I personally use them on a ton of our personal and commercial projects. Anyways, check out the link in the show notes to start your subscription and get unlimited music for your next masterpiece.
It's the end of the podcast, and you know that these things just end in ads, and yet you're still listening. So I can only assume one thing, which is that you've fallen asleep, and now I'm in your dreams once again. Here's what's going to happen. Whenever you hear the word podcast, you're going to feel the unavoidable urge to go to plotdevices.co and order any of our cool storytelling products, like the Story Clock Workbook for turning your ideas into stories, or the Storyboard Workbook for drawing your shot ideas and planning your shoot. Be sure to use code GAMESHOW to get 20% off your first order, and when I snap my fingers, you will wake up. Podcast. Go buy stuff, please.